Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for yet another episode. This is not an official podcast episode, but I have done a delegation in front of the Waterloo District School Board. I have the papers right over here in front of me, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about my delegation and just walk you through all the different items that I've addressed. Now, this delegation had to be fairly tight. I only had 10 minutes to go through all the points and make all the points, but I just wanted to show you a little bit more information about the different points and where I got them from. So when I opened the delegation, I talked a little bit about how our family came from communist Romania. I find this relevant because during the communist times, there was a lot of censorship from the opposition. People were criminalized for the things that they said, and I'm finding kind of the same vibes going on right now. I'm finding a lot of people have reached out to me saying that they don't really want to speak out because they have jobs and they don't want to be canceled and all of this. And it's a little bit unfortunate that it's gotten to this point, but I got to tell you, this kind of stuff, I already know the game they're playing, and I can't just sit by and not say anything, especially when it comes to the kids. I did mention in the opening statement that there was an incident that brought all of this to my attention in 2022. And of course, that incident is with Carolyn Berjowski's, when she brought up the books in the school library. I have a lot more information on this in episode 1 of the podcast, which I'm going to link below. And I actually talk about the content in the books, and and I also link to the books, so you're going to get more information on that. In terms of the censored content, go have a look on Waterloo District's YouTube page and see how many videos have comment restrictions. Have a look on their Instagram. They've been a little bit better lately, but if you go during last year's posts, it's a little bit limited, to say the least. All right. One of the things that I mentioned early on was the censoring of delegates as well. And I was referring to a video over here. I'm actually going to play it. This happened during the last delegation, December 19th, 2022. Cristina Fernandez, who I've had on the show many times, 2 times, she spoke in front of the school board. So let's have a quick look about what she said.
Very own, paid for by the constituents, trustees, liking and sharing such divisive messages such as, the parents who don't mask their kids suck too.
Ms. Fernandez?
Mm-hmm.
Please don't use discourteous language, including uneducated, for example. Continue.
I'm pretty sure that was used by the board last week.
Continue.
I hope this isn't going against my time. How is it that the board is able to use this language?
Continue your delegation.
All right. Well, it's going to be a lot of... Okay.
All right. You get the point. That's why I said it's like the trustees and the board. They're above what they say. They don't want to be held accountable for their own words, and they're not willing to be quoted back during these meetings. So there's a lot of silencing of criticism in this, which is obviously a big problem. The Have Your Say survey that I was talking about, in that survey, I want to show you this screenshot that was on the survey, and check this out. This is what I'm referring to. Sexual orientation is a person's characteristic that forms part of who you are. It covers a range of feelings and expressions related to an individual's romantic and/or physical attraction. Sexual orientation is distinct from an individual's gender identity. What is your sexual orientation? Now, that was a screenshot that I took of the survey when I did it. And this is the survey that I requested early December last year. And I wanted a copy, and it's been over 2 months. I actually ended up getting the survey, so I'm going to be talking a little bit more about that. But that was the Have Your Say survey, and that I was assured by the senior manager, Dana Lieberman, who put this together, that this encouraged people, which included students grade 4 to 12, to take part. I just think these questions are inappropriate. And of course, I cover a little bit more of this in episode 1 of the podcast. Then I go to survey number 2, which is kind of the same thing. I also go in more detail in episode 1 podcast about the confidentiality issues and the questions in the survey and why it's not anonymous and how the data is used to overlap with the student achievement data. So the policy, the Waterloo District School Board policy that I'm referring to is this over here. I'm just going to show you right now. This is what I quoted on the survey. During my delegation. So if you can read that, some students who identify as transgender are not openly so at home because of safety and or other reasons. A school shall not disclose a student's gender status to the student's parents, guardians without the student's explicit prior consent. When school staff contacts the home of the student who identifies as transgender, the student should be consulted first to determine an appropriate way to reference the student's gender identity. Not doing so can potentially put a student's well-being and safety at risk. If students have first disclosed their gender status to staff, it is strongly suggested that staff privately ask the transgender student at the beginning of the school year how they want to be addressed in correspondence to the home or at the meetings with the student's parents or guardians. School staff should talk to the students about letting their administrator, teachers, guidance counselors, child and youth worker, and other school staff know, explaining reasons why it might be helpful for them to be aware. Example, making calls at home. Staff should respect the student's decision not to disclose to others. So, when I read this, I just have a problem with keeping parents out of the loop, and this seems to be a trend as well. Now, I understand, not disclosing this, but it also says that, encourage the student to let staff know, and anybody else at school. So it seems like the encouragement is kind of one way, and when you're at school, it seems like the parents are really kept out of the loop, and the students have affirmed behavior that's different at school than at home, which I think is a problem. And I will say the other thing that I don't really get on board with is this notion that the parents are in some way harmful to their own children. It's like the board is trying to protect the kids from their own parents. And I don't really buy this. I think the parents always have the best intentions in mind. And I'm not a big fan of keeping the parents out of the loop. Then I talk about delegation. I talk about a radio interview that a trustee was asked about Carolyn Brzezinski's video that was removed. This is the video over here. I'm going to share this with you in a little snippet of this. Let's have a quick look over here and just listen to what Kenzy Soror says on the Mike Farwell show.
Did you have any concerns during the meeting about the presentation being stopped short? Do you think it should have been allowed to continue, or had it reached a point where you agreed that the delegation should have been stopped?
This is actually a great question, Mike. And as an advocate for freedom of expression myself, I did struggle contemplating about this, but I guess without proper acknowledgement of the harm that was the reason to stop the delegation, there was no guarantee that no harm would follow if the delegation would have continued. And so at the end of the day, I believe that averting more harm should always take precedence.
Do you think the meeting should be available online for people to view and to better understand the context of all of this?
Yeah, so I understand that there may be legality issues around having the meeting up on its own, but I do think that it's important to have something there regarding the meeting and what happened, to make sure that there isn't a void that can then be filled with, again, all of this anti-LGBTQ plus sentiment. So if a video wasn't possible, I do wish that there had been something, maybe like a summary that didn't quote anything verbatim to avoid causing more harm to the community, but at the same time made sure that people are aware of what happened during this meeting.
All right. So I think Kenzy is actually a really smart individual. But at the same time, in terms of what she's saying, I think that parents need to view this video on their own and make up their mind about what is happening. And like I said, Carolyn's presentation was stopped because of the harm that could have been done. This reminds, I don't know if you guys have seen Minority Report, where the premise of the movie is stopping crimes before they happen. But it seems like the Waterloo District School Board is just like in Minority Report, where they're able to predict future crimes and stop things. I guess they can look into the future. Totally unacceptable. Totally, in my opinion, a weak way to shut down and silence somebody making a presentation. And like I said, I don't think that they need to take this video down. I think parents need to look at this video, and I think that they need to make up their own mind. All right, I'm just going to get right into the book over here and let you know a little bit more. So if you go on the school library, let me just have a quick look at this tab over here. So I signed into my youngest daughter's library account, and I just searched the bluest eye. Here's the bluest eye. I clicked on connect to resource over here, and once I connect to the resource, it takes me to the actual book itself. I'm going to share this with you. This is the book, The Bluest Eye. Text difficulty, grade level 4 to 5. I'm not really sure what this rating is out of. From what I've seen, it seems like grade 4 to 5 reading level, but I'm not sure what this rating is out of or how they came up with it. Anyways, I can open the book right over here on my daughter's account, read it. And this book is, it's kind of disturbing. It is about pedophilia and incest. It's about a dad that abuses his daughters. And if I want to show you over here, I had Pierre Barnes on my podcast, episode number 2, and he mentioned this book. So, of course, he did a book review on it. And here is the section that I quoted. I started over here. I'm not going to reread it again. You could read for yourself. I had to take some things up because I was obviously I only had 10 minutes for this delegation, but there is a whole bunch of stuff in this book that is inappropriate. So I'm going to link this book below. You can have a look for yourself and determine if this book is appropriate for the school libraries. And I'm wondering why I can access this book on my daughter's, my 7-year-old's account. So I did send an email to the Waterloo District School Board, and I'm going to show you, these are the questions over here that I am wondering. Who's interested in knowing the sexual orientation and gender identity of my daughters? Why is the school board censoring information, criticism, not providing documents, and misinforming parents? Why is the board wedging a divide between parents and students? What happened to It's None of Your Business regarding sexual orientation and gender identity? When does the board deem it has gone too far? Why is the board facilitating child abuse? And who's approving books, and what is done to remove inappropriate books? Can there be an investigation into the school books? Why is the policy stating not to disclose students' gender to parents while encouraging the students to talk to staff? Please let me know if you require any clarification on anything. When can I expect the answer? How will I receive the answer? And who will be accountable for the answers? So I'm going to give the Waterloo District School Board about a week to address my concerns, and we're going to take it from there. But I hope this gives you a little bit more information on where I got my material from. I could talk about this a lot more. I have 2 episodes in the podcast that explores in a lot more detail. I do encourage you to have a look at episode number 1, which does talk about the school surveys, and I show you exactly what I'm talking about, and I click on the pages and we go through it step by step. And then episode 2 is with Pierre Barnes, who goes through all the books. It's unfortunate that we've got to this place, but honestly, I really don't think this material is appropriate. I don't want this material to be around my kids. I understand if authors have creative endeavors and they write things, let's say even the Bluest Eye book, and they're trying to write it from the perspective of a pedophile. That's great, but is the school board really running out of books that children can access? There's so many great books out there. Why is this stuff even in the school? Do we not have better things to teach the kids? I'm thinking that maybe we should stop prioritizing on sexual orientation, sexual identity for kids, and maybe start focusing more on math, English, science, and all that good stuff, and just move away from this nonsense. And I'm hoping things will start to correct themselves. Once again, thank you for all the support. Thank you to all the people who reached out. I'm really grateful. There are a ton of really knowledgeable people out there, and a lot of people reached out saying they feel the same way, and they're happy that I've spoken out. I just want to thank the trustees as well, especially the chair who allowed this meeting to continue. And I'm really looking forward to hearing what they have to say and addressing the concerns that I have. Thank you all, and if you are interested in keeping up, please subscribe, and this is probably the best way that you can stay in touch with me. That's why I invite you to take part of this journey with me, and let's make the school a great place for students to be. Thanks again. Take care.